What is up, y'all? CLG Lifestyle here, coming at you with another message. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the platform. That way, you can stay connected to what it is that I do as a lifestyle influencer, content creator, and someone who is serving you so that you can become the best version of yourself. So here we go with this morning's message. Now, God is telling y'all, a lot of y'all, to start cooking your own food. Stop spending all this money going out to eat 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, ordering delivery services, whether that's Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc. Now, no one is saying that there's anything wrong with going out to eat or ordering food through the apps. What I'm saying is that you should start investing in produce, start investing in the gift, in the mental enrichment, the mental health that comes with getting in the kitchen and preparing a meal for yourself or for your family. I believe in this season, and for a while, God has been speaking to me about the quality of the foods in the marketplace. I remember when I became a born again believer in 2016, I had, my eyes was awakened to the types of food that is readily available in our communities, right? And so I was living in the hood at the time, right? And so all of a sudden, my sight, my eyes, what I was seeing as far as the types of food, whether it's in the bodega, corner store, or even in the grocery, right? The Associates, that's one of the grocery stores that we have in New York City. There was one right across the street from where I lived. And I remember one time going in there and then seeing the quality of the meats that they had for sale. This one specific time, the meat, all I can say was that it looked beat up, okay? It was just not the quality of product that you or anyone who has a business should, especially in America, should have available to people, for people to buy. And so, as I was saying, my eyes was open to just the quality of foods and the type of foods, that's readily available in our communities. And that began the awakening of wanting to do something different, wanting to do something more. Now, change starts with yourself, right? And so a lot of the times when God is asking you to do something, to be some form of agent of change, from my understanding, it tends to start with you. So, for example, before Moses was able to go and face, Pharaoh, before King David was able to reign as king, before Joseph was able to be second in command to Pharaoh, all these guys, what they all had in common, even if their personalities were different, even if their ages were different, even if their jurisdiction was different, even if their deployment was different, everything that they had in common was a season or seasons of growing and cultivating their relationship with God. When Moses encountered God through the burning bush, this was something new to him. This was something foreign to him. Okay. When Joseph began to receive his dreams as a youth, right? These were prophetic manifestations, prophetic communications from the Spirit of God, telling him, not fully fleshed out, that this would be his future, right? So obviously he was able to interpret dreams as a result of his dad, right? Because when he expressed the dream, Jacob was like, so you mean to tell us that we're going to bow down before you? So he definitely had the gift of interpretation. And when he interpreted that dream, obviously, as we know, as the story goes, that his siblings and everything that comes with the environment resisting the will of God began to go in motion, right? And so we see the story of Joseph, but that didn't stop destiny, right? That didn't stop God's plans from happening. See, the enemy may try to resist and rebel, against the will of God, but God in his all sovereignty, God in his all powerful and all knowing capacity already has a plan, already has strategy. God is a master tactician. You cannot outwit, you cannot outplay, and you cannot outlast the Spirit of God. And that is something that the enemy seems to not be able to understand, right? For whatever reasons. And so, back to what I was saying about the revelation that I was getting about the food, right? So a lot of the times when people want to lose weight, right, or want to have some type of physical transformation, it is proven that at least 70% is going to be the types of food that you're eating, right? So whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to gain muscle, it is said that some say even 80% is the food, your food choices. So the more knowledgeable, the more educated you are in terms of the nutritious values in the foods that we eat, then the more you're going to reap a harvest in manifesting the desires that you want, right? Because when you know better, you do better. However, now it's not just about, in this time, in this season, it's not just about the knowledge of, the nutritional value, as in what are eggs good for? What are oranges good for, right? What are apples good for? What are greens good for, right? Now it's more of production. How are these products? How are these produce and things like that? How are they being prepared? How are they being manufactured, right? So now we're concerned with the quality of the products, and in some cases the services that is being offered to us, right? So how do we circumvent that? How do we override not knowing where my chicken is coming from, even though the package says that it's organic, even though it's saying that the eggs are cage free? We know that this society has a problem with integrity. So just because it says it on the package, just because it's marketed as a desirable experience, it doesn't mean that's what it's going to be, right? So how do we override that? Simple. Cooking your own foods, growing your own foods, okay? They say prostitution is the oldest profession, but I believe there's one older than that, and that is you being able to cultivate the land, okay? That is you being able to grow your own garden. When God created Adam, God told Adam, hey, this is the Garden of Eden, right? And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, I want you to cultivate this land, this garden. And that is what he did, okay? Fast forward to the first washing away or the first renewal of the earth in the time of Noah. When God was blessing Noah, God said to Noah, listen, you'll be able to eat as you were before, the greens and the fruits and the seeds of the earth, but I also add meat, right? This was now a new thing that God was doing, because before it was only the herbs of the ground that they were able to eat. But in this newness, in this new thing that God was doing in the time of Noah, he now added meat to the table. So agriculture, growing your own produce, growing your crops, having livestock, that has been since the beginning of humanity, right? And so we're seeing a reintroduction, we're seeing the importance, and we're seeing now, if you want to have and experience integrity when it comes to what you consume, that you're going to have to take the initiative. You're going to have to, unless you are balling and you're making money and you have a lot of money and you can really outsource your goods where okay, it's farm to table, like some restaurants have a farm to table concept where they are in direct communication, in direct contact with their suppliers, and for a fact that where your eggs come from is where they come from, where your meat come from is what it is. You don't have to play the middleman, or you don't have to rely on a manufacturing company or some other source to validate what you know for sure to be the source of what where you get your stuff from, where you get your produce, your meats, etc. But since you may not have that capacity right now, you do have the capacity to, for the most part, take incremental steps into, essentially creating the life that you want. You are someone who's desiring vitality, virility, divine health, right? Divine wealth, not just of the pockets, but of the mind, of the body, of the soul, and of the spirit, okay? And in this case, of the stomach, right? So we want to make sure that what we're intaking, what we're consuming, not just the bread of life as believers, but also the bread of the earth, as in grains, sprouted grains, flour, milk, butter, spices, right? All of these things the earth has produced, okay? And you have the capacity to produce it yourself. So if you're in a situation right now where you can begin growing even your herbs, right? Yeah, we go to the supermarket and we get these dry herbs, but what's better than growing your own herbs in a flower pot in your backyard, on your windowsill, right? So these are little steps and acts of faith that we can come into agreement with, that is basically telling God, God, we want what you want for us, and here are our steps that we're taking towards making this happen. We ask that you bless it, we ask that you increase it, and give us the wisdom and the insight to do more and more and more. And I believe God is going to do that for you. So save some money, start cooking, and use the money that you're saving to invest in a hobby, invest in some type of business or some type of brand that will change your life financially and forever.